Welcome to the Virginia Civics and Economics Lecture Series. At the end of each slide, there will be a 5-second delay. Use this time to complete your notes. When you are done, push play and move on to the next slide. This presentation will begin in 5 seconds. Welcome to Virginia Civics and Economics Lecture 5.4 on local government in Virginia. And let's look at local government in the rest of America by going to the great state of New Jersey. You know, New Jersey, the Garden State, home of the Turnpike Parkway and Atlantic City Expressway, and also home of John Bon Jovi from Sayreville, Meryl Streep from Summit, and Shaq Daddy himself, Shaquille O'Neal, the pride of Newark. I also grew up in New Jersey in the town of Glen Rock, which is literally named after a giant boulder in the middle of town. Glen Rock as a town had its own government, a mayor and town council, police and fire departments, and even a small court for small crimes and tiny civil cases. But Glen Rock was part of Bergen County, 70 independent towns, and the county had its own government. That included larger courts, a county park system, and even their own sheriff. And Bergen County is one of 21 counties in New Jersey. So, like citizens in every other state, I lived under 3 levels of government: town, county, and state. Virginia is quite different. And today we're going to look at those differences, so let's go to the next slide. At first glance, Virginia looks just like everywhere else, but when you look a little deeper, it's a lot different. The units of local government in Virginia are counties, towns, and cities, and local governments exercise legislative and executive powers. In other words, it's the whole package at the county, city, or town level. The county, city, or town makes the local laws, and they enforce the local laws as well as many state laws. But that's where the similarities end. Virginia consists of counties and independent cities, each of which are separate from the other, which is unique compared with other states in the country. In other words, there are only 2 levels of government in Virginia. You live in a county or a city, and then above that is the Commonwealth or the state of Virginia. Now, you might live in a town within a county, but in reality, the county is the main form of local government. That's not all. Counties are considered part of the Commonwealth, and as such, they are treated the same way as the Commonwealth would be treated. What does that mean? It means that counties are merely subdivisions or pieces of the state of Virginia, and because of this, counties and the Commonwealth of Virginia have basically the same laws and powers. On the other hand, cities are recognized as independent entities that are allowed to exist by the Commonwealth of Virginia, but they do not receive the same protection as the Commonwealth and the counties. In other words, somebody once said, "Hey, I want to create a city. I don't want to live in a county anymore." And the Commonwealth of Virginia said, "That's cool. Go ahead and make your own independent city." Go to the next slide. In Virginia, it's important to know if you live in a city or a county, because where you live determines who runs what at the local level. Each Virginia county has an elected Board of Supervisors, which exercises legislative powers, enacts ordinances, those are local laws specific to the county, and adopts an annual budget for the county. Each Virginia incorporated town has an elected town council, which exercises legislative powers, enacts ordinances or local laws specific to the town, and adopts an annual budget. And at the town level, a mayor is elected either by voters or by the town council. So this is Northampton County, Virginia, and this is the incorporated town of Exmoor, which is in Northampton County, Virginia. But remember, Towns are not independent of the county in which they are located, and citizens pay both taxes to the county and the town in which they reside. So if you live in Exmoor, you're probably paying local taxes for living in the town, and you're also paying taxes to the county, and you're following the ordinances of the county because the county is the main form of local government that you live under. Each Virginia city, like the city of Virginia Beach, has an elected city council, which exercises legislative powers, enacts ordinances, those are local laws specific to the city, and adopts an annual budget. A mayor is elected either by the voters or by city council. Remember, you will never have a city that answers to a county in Virginia. So, cities and counties are different, but there are some similarities. All Virginia counties and cities have either an elected or appointed school board, which oversees the operation of public schools. School boards are not independent and have no power to tax, which is different than other states. What does all that mean? Let's say we got Little Gifted School, and let's say Little Gifted School is one of the schools in a school division run by the county. They have a school board which will come together and say, this is the budget we need to run all the schools in the division, including Little Gifted Schools. But at the end of the day, the board of supervisors in that county is ultimately going to determine how much money will be paid by the taxpayers to fund Little Gifted School and the school division. Additionally, in Virginia counties, towns, and cities, a city manager may be hired by the elected legislative branch to oversee the operation of the local government. We call this the city manager system. People who are elected to office are usually part-timers, almost exclusively in Virginia. They don't have the experience to run all of the inner workings of the city, so they hire somebody who has a degree in city management. That person runs the city. Almost all Virginia municipalities are run by a professional manager. Go to the next slide. We elect supervisors and council members to run our localities, to make the big decisions in our cities, counties, and towns regarding our health, safety, and welfare. But we also need people who are going to run our city in a just and efficient manner. We call them constitutionally appointed officers because they are required to serve in the localities under the Virginia Constitution. In every locality, state courts resolve judicial disputes. Judges of the circuit court, district court, juvenile and domestic relations court, and small claims court hear cases in each locality. And these judges are not elected. Instead, judges are appointed by the General Assembly, and circuit court judges can hear cases in several counties within their circuit. This is a former chief judge in Virginia Beach City Circuit Court. He heard cases in Virginia Beach. He ruled on cases in Virginia Beach, but his responsibility was not to the city of Virginia Beach. It was instead to the Commonwealth of Virginia. The Virginia Constitution also requires that voters elect a sheriff, Commonwealth's attorney, circuit court clerk, commissioner of revenue, and treasurer. We call these elected constitutional officers, and here's what they do. Sheriffs run the city or county jail, serve court papers for the judiciary, and in counties are usually the primary law enforcement officers. Commonwealth's attorneys prosecute criminal defendants for violating state law. Clerk of the circuit court maintains the records for all courts of record, filing and scheduling of all criminal and civil cases. We call that docketing, and recording land records. The Commissioner of Revenue is responsible for the just administration of all taxes levied in a city, county, or town. These are all taxes except for property taxes. Those taxes are decided by the City Council or Board of Supervisors. And finally, the Treasurer is the custodian of all public monies in the city and is responsible for collecting fees and payments as well as paying for goods and services provided to the city. In other words, the treasurer pays all of the bills of the municipality. Go to the next slide. Now that we know the structure of our local government in Virginia, it's time to figure out what they actually are allowed to do. And to answer that question, we need to meet the Honorable John T. Dillon of Iowa. You see, Judge Dillon created a rule that we adopted in Virginia and we still use today. Virginia's state and local governments work together to exercise defined and limited powers. Local government can only exercise powers granted to them by the state government. We call that Dillons Rule. The state has to say, locality, you are allowed to do this. If the state doesn't say that, the locality can't do it. Knowing this, the power of state and local government includes enforcing state and local laws. State laws include implementing state-sponsored projects, as well as acting on behalf of the state regarding certain actions. For example, enforcing state building and fire codes. Up to code, now make it look good. If you're going to build something in a city, county, or town, the city, county, or town is going to make sure that you are building it appropriately according to state code. Local laws or ordinances include laws that are passed by cities, counties, and towns, focusing on health, safety, and welfare laws unique to local government, as well as laws dealing with local public nuisances. These are the famous no cussing signs we see in Virginia Beach. These signs were put up because we have an ordinance that says it is illegal to curse in public in the city. Laws are enforced either through the courts or through state administrative agencies. So, local police can arrest someone for violating state law, and those people are brought in front of a district or circuit court. State and local governments promote public health as well, and there's a lot here. Sanitation rules for restaurants, providing trash pickup for citizens, running outreach and educational programs regarding the flu, providing medical clinics, following state rules involving health issues, offering recreational opportunities to the citizens. Ever go to the bathroom and see, notice, employees must wash hands before returning to work? That is something required by the state, washing hands, and the locality will go check on whether or not everybody's washing their hands and if that sign is in the restaurant's bathroom. Finally, state and local governments protect public safety, fire code rules, local traffic laws, building code enforcement, requiring permits for construction projects, gatherings and other events, outreach and educational programs on fire safety and smoke detectors. All of these things promote public safety. All of these things are done at the local level. Go to the next slide. There are 4 additional functions of government that are exclusively the province of cities, counties, and towns. Educating children is one of them. Operating public schools, providing for Head Start and after-school programs for students, operating public libraries, and supporting local community college systems. That all happens on the local level. If it's public education and it's pre-K to 12th grade, that's done exclusively by a Virginia municipality. We also have protecting the environment, enforcing state and local environmental laws, as well as working with and enforcing regulations for the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, the Virginia Marine Resource Commission, and the Chesapeake Bay Commission. All fall squarely on the counties, cities, and towns. Then we have regulating land use. Think SimCity. This is determining zoning laws, which is what can be built where, planning for future development, building and maintaining local roads, and allowing for non-conforming land use. So not only do cities, counties, and towns have the power to say how lands can be used within their boundaries, but they also have the power to turn around and say, you can specifically do things that we said you couldn't do. That's a non-conforming land use, so long as you ask us properly. Finally, localities levy and collect taxes. This is funding for both local government and the schools, primarily property taxes. It is the exclusive domain of the municipality to tax people who live within their boundaries. That's it for this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in class.